She was a star. Now she works in a local area. Many people dream of fame, fortune, and celebrity, so it's hard to understand why a successful actor or actress would leave everything behind to live like regular people. Some celebrities leave Hollywood or sports because their careers aren't going well, and some leave for personal reasons. Whatever the reason, these stars eventually have to get real jobs because their money won't last forever. Here's a list of famous people who left Hollywood behind and are now working 9-to-5 jobs. Taryn Smith. Home Improvement was one of the best TV series of the 90s, and Taryn Noah Smith played the youngest child, Mark. Like many child stars, Taryn grew up on the show and landed the role when he was 7, and he was 16 when the show ended. Taryn never had a chance to figure out what he wanted to do with his life, but when Home Improvement ended, he knew he didn't want to be an actor anymore. Taryn had to sue his parents to gain control of his earnings and used the money to form a vegan dairy company and catering service called Play Food with his then-wife, who was 15 years older. The marriage and the business didn't last, and today Taryn lives on a sailboat in California and helps out with disaster relief. Angelina Pivarnik. When the MTV reality series Jersey Shore premiered in 2009, the cast quickly became household names, and Angelina Pivarnik was one of them. Angelina arrived at the Shore house with her belongings in garbage bags and didn't make the best first impression, leading her male roommates to call her the Staten Island Dump. The reality star argued with her roommates often after starting trouble with the girls and boys brought home from the club and not doing her part to keep the house clean. When she decided she didn't want to work her shift at the T-shirt, Danny, who owned the shop and the Shore house, fired her and kicked her out. MTV allowed Angelina to come back for the second season, filmed in Florida, and she left that house early because she constantly fought with her roommates. The show's producers replaced Angelina with Deanna, a new roommate, but she still wanted to be famous. She appeared on 2 seasons of Couples Therapy, and when the offers didn't come, she became an EMT. Angelina returned for Jersey Shore Family Reunion, but this time she's able to handle the disrespect she gets from her roommates better and has been on every season of the show. The reality star may return to her EMT job because the show has to end eventually. Nobody wants to see a bunch of 40-somethings causing drama with one another and getting drunk, and the show will be gone forever. Jeff Cohen. The 1985 film The Goonies was an instant hit, and it's still popular today. The younger generations who weren't born when the film premiered love the movie, and it's iconic. Jeff Cohen played Chunk in the film and was famous for his truffle shuffle dance. Fans loved him in the movie, but Jeff decided that acting wasn't for him, and he retired after the film premiered. Jeff focused on school and lost a lot of weight while playing high school football. After graduation, he wanted to be a lawyer and attended law school at UCLA. Today, the former child star works as an entertainment lawyer and doesn't regret retiring. Mara Wilson. Mara Wilson was a child star and was one of the most successful child actresses in the 90s. She landed her breakout role in Mrs. Doubtfire alongside Hollywood legends Sally Field and Robin Williams. Next, Mara starred in the 1994 remake of Miracle on 34th Street, then a leading role in Matilda. People thought Mara would become a big star, but that didn't happen. The actress left Hollywood behind because she didn't like how things worked and was diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive disorder. Mara left Hollywood behind, earned a degree from NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, and pursued a writing career. She's appeared on podcasts and YouTube videos, but has no desire to return to acting, saying it's not fun. She didn't like doing the same thing repeatedly, didn't feel that she had any creative freedom, and never regretted her decision to leave the spotlight behind. Lisa and Louise Burns. Lisa and Louise Burns were child stars and did some work on TV before landing the role of the ghostly Grady twins in the horror film The Shining. The casting director wasn't looking for twins, but the girls read for the part anyway and landed the role. The Burns twins felt that The Shining inhibited their acting careers and were only getting offers for horror movies. They decided to leave Hollywood because they weren't looking to be offered the roles they hoped, and Lisa became a lawyer, and Louise is a published microbiologist. The twins look back fondly on their time filming The Shining, but have never regretted leaving the spotlight. John Cassie. Director Alan Parker was looking for children to cast in the mid-70s movie Bugsy Malone, and he went to a school in Brooklyn to scout. He asked the students who was the naughtiest boy in class, and they named John Cassie, and he was cast as Fat Sam. John also landed a role in the late 70s TV series Fish. John stopped acting when Fish ended and began working in the construction industry. By 2012, he worked his way up to Director of Global Construction for Citigroup and was doing well until everything fell apart. John was arrested for his part in a bribery scheme in 2015, was convicted and sentenced to 2 to 6 years in prison. He also had to pay a $500,000 fine, but he probably didn't have any money left from acting to pay the fine. Austin St. John. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers premiered in August 1993, and it was an instant hit. Nobody on the show was as famous as Austin St. John, who played Jason Lee Scott, the Red Power Ranger. His character was the team leader, which made him famous overnight. Austin, Walter Emmanuel Jones, the Black Ranger, and Thai Trang, the Yellow Ranger, all left the series due to a pay dispute in the middle of the second season, and their characters were written out. Austin didn't continue acting after leaving the Power Rangers, and he worked several jobs and worked as a karate teacher for a while. John began working as a paramedic in Washington, D.C. in the early 2000s and spent over 10 years working as a citizen healthcare worker in the U.S. military in the Middle East. He's also a huge comic book fan and is a fixture on the comic book convention circuit. Peter Ostrom. Peter Ostrom has one major acting credit on his resume: the leading role in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Peter played Charlie Bucket in the film alongside Gene Wilder, who liked Peter a lot. His dialogue coach, Frawley Becker, said that Peter wasn't a child actor, but a child who acted. The film became a big hit and a classic, and fans wondered what Peter would work on next. Despite the film's success, Peter turned down a 3-film contract and decided that acting wasn't for him. Peter wanted to become a veterinarian and earned his doctorate of veterinary medicine from Cornell University College of Veterinary Medicine in 1984. Today, he's a veterinarian in upstate New York and focuses mainly on large animals. Peter doesn't regret leaving Hollywood and often declines interviews and publicity requests. Also, he's only attended a handful of Wonka anniversary events over the years and prefers caring for animals. Angus T Jones. Angus T Jones became an instant star when he landed the role of Jake Harper as a child on the hit TV comedy 2.5 Men. He played Jake for the series' entire run from 2003 to 2015 and landed many roles, but he started to lose his love for acting toward the end of 2.5 Men. He took a small part in the TV series Horace and Pete and isn't acting today. Angus was religious and joined the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and he disapproved of the show's content. Despite being the highest-paid child actor in Hollywood, Angus left the spotlight to become a businessman. Today, Angus is all grown up, and he and his partner, P. Diddy's son Justin, run an event planning business. Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz was one of the biggest stars in Hollywood in the 90s and 2000s. She landed her breakout role in the 1994 comedy film The Mask as Jim Carrey's love interest. After that, Cameron landed roles in several movies, such as There's Something About Mary, My Best Friend's Wedding, Charlie's Angels, and Being John Malkovich. She also lent her voice to the role of Fiona in Disney's Shrek franchise. Her career was going great, but she disappeared in the mid-2010s. Cameron's last role was in the 2014 film Annie, and she announced she was retiring from acting. She'd been living in the spotlight for so long that she wanted privacy and became an author. The former actress wrote 2 health books, The Longevity Book and The Body Book, and is enjoying her life and privacy. Shawn Kemp. If you followed basketball in the 90s, you heard of Shawn Kemp. He made headlines by landing a spot in the NBA draft right out of high school, but he was really young and didn't make much of an impression in the beginning. It wasn't long before Shawn found his footing in the league and became known as the Rain Man. He was an excellent player from the early to late 90s, but his weight problems caused controversy. Shawn often arrived at training camp terribly out of shape and moved from team to team in the final years in the NBA. He played in Cleveland for 3 years, Portland for 2, and ended his career with the Orlando Magic in the 2002-2003 season and retired. Shawn struggled during his first few years away from the NBA and attempted a comeback, but legal issues prevented it. The former basketball player was arrested twice for drug possession, once in 2005 for cocaine and again in 2006 for marijuana. Shawn got his life together and got into the restaurant business. Today, he owns and operates several companies in Seattle and is very successful. He also advocates for the NBA to bring a team back to Seattle since the Supersonics moved to Oklahoma City in 2008. Chris Owen. 1999 was a big year for Chris Owen, and he got his big break playing Sherman, the Shermanator, in the hit comedy film American Pie. In the same year, he starred in Can't Hardly Wait, She's All That, and October Sky. He returned for a few of the American Pie sequels. Chris's big year didn't go much further because he was being typecast as the nerdy guy and turned down these roles until the offers stopped coming. Things weren't going well for Chris, and he started working regular jobs without any offers coming in. His name came back up in 2014 when the New York Daily News printed a story about him working as a waiter at a sushi restaurant. Since then, Chris began trying to resurrect his acting career and was offered film roles again. The actor starred in the TV show Criminal Minds, and his latest film role was in the 2018 cult film The Last Sharknado, It's About Time. He's also an excellent photographer and has landed jobs taking pictures. Lisa Whelchel. Lisa was one of the main stars on the hit sitcom The Facts of Life, playing rich girl Blair Warner. The series ended in 1988, and Lisa left acting for good. She became a born-again Christian when she was 10, married the pastor of her church in 1988, and chose to leave Hollywood behind because her faith was more important. Lisa enjoyed her time out of the spotlight and raised 3 kids and published 10 books on motherhood, child discipline, homeschooling, adult friendships, and using holiday traditions to help one's religious faith. Lisa and her husband divorced in 2012, and she stepped back into the spotlight when she became a contestant on the reality show Survivor Philippines. Julia Stiles. Julia was once the queen of teen movies, starring in 10 Things I Hate About You, Save the Last Dance, and Oh. She continued starring in a few movies and direct-to-video films for a while and started working on one project a year. She took a break from acting full-time to get a degree in English literature from Columbia University in 2005. She worked with Habitat for Humanity for a while, building houses in Costa Rica, and worked with Amnesty International to raise awareness of the harsh conditions of immigration detention centers for children. Julia still acts today, and her most recent role was Trisha Albright in Orphan: First Kill, and she starred in Chosen Family, which is currently in pre-production.